people remember the hulking silhouettes of steel mills that once dominated our landscape, fueled our economy, and built a nation. People also remember that, unfortunately, at times you couldn't see the sun at 3 in the afternoon due to the pollution from the steel mills. And that while money was good, the labor was hard and even dangerous at times. But what people around here remember most is that we were able to reinvent ourselves when the steel industry collapsed. The molten iron that we once poured into crucibles became the forged part of our collective backbones, a part of our character as people. Our determination surpassed the circumstances of the moment, and Pittsburgh went through a renaissance that catapulted us to a world-class status in education, healthcare and technology, and industrial innovation. Pittsburgh became a model for what's possible in America when decent, hardworking people unite in a common cause for the greater good. And isn't that what public education is all about? Uniting for a common cause. That's right. Uniting for a common cause and a greater good. The 3,100 strong teachers, paraprofessionals, and technical clerical workers of the Pittsburgh Federation of Teachers, working shoulder to shoulder with the mighty coalition called the Great Public Schools Pittsburgh, also made up of One Pennsylvania. Yeah, yes! The Pennsylvania Interfaith Impact Network, and our union brothers and sisters in SEIU. Fought for and then worked closely with our district to usher in a community school model. Now in 9 of our schools, and growing, hopefully to all of our schools, that makes these schools the center of the community and provides coordinated and expanded supports for our students, educators, and families so that teachers are better able to teach and students are better able to learn. Yes. Now that's what I call the greater good. Our GPS coalition knows that public school is a sacred public trust and greater good that represents the beating heart of America. I think that's part of the reason that we were asked to host this historic event today is that we have repeatedly demonstrated the ability to weather disagreements, arguments, and dissension, to come back together and lock arms to fight for our students and for our schools. Now, do we have enough steel in our national backbone to speak truth to power and to ask hard questions that demand reasonable answers and actionable solutions?
Yes, we do.
There is no better place to start asking those questions than right here in Pittsburgh. Because our students, our children are at stake, and they are the greatest good of all. Welcome each and every one of you to Pittsburgh. Now let's lock arms and let's get to work. I am so proud to introduce to you one of my GPS partners and one of the staunchest advocates for public education that I know. Here's Angel Gober from One Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, I only got like a minute now. All right. So thank you so much, Nina. Welcome to Pittsburgh again. How are we feeling about public schools this morning? Yeah. So my name is Angel Gober, and I am the Western Pennsylvania Director with One Pennsylvania, and I'm also a parent. We are a statewide organization of workers, elders, parents, community members coming together to get off the sidelines and to fight to build a future that we believe in. And we all know that that starts with public education. So we stand here knowing that we've actually had really great victories here in our city. Together we've won community schools. We have stopped school closures. We have kicked out Teach for America. And we've also done our due diligence to challenge the school-to-prison pipeline by banning suspensions for pre-K to second grade for nonviolent offenses. So we are so proud to have a democratically elected school board here in our city. We know so many other communities have lost that right, like Little Rock and New Orleans. And we also have still so much work to do. We know so many communities in Pittsburgh, we spent over $87 million on charter schools alone last year. Shame. When our board votes, our local board votes no on new charter schools, the Pennsylvania State Charter Appeal Board overrides and disrespects our local voice, approving 99% of those charter applications, even when they deny kids with disabilities. So that is problematic. So it is time to reimagine what our schools should be. And when we prioritize and win for the most vulnerable, underserved students, we win for all kids. Woo! So one way that we do this is, by lifting up parents who've actually lived through the struggle and moving them into real power. So I'm so gratefully humbled and honored to introduce our next speaker. She's all the way from Philadelphia, my good friend, my sister in the movement. She just won city council at large in Philadelphia. So Miss Kendra Brooks.
Thank you. Thank you, Angel. Good morning. My name is Kendra Brooks. I'm a mother of 5, a grandmother of 3, and a Philadelphia public school activist. This November, I was elected to office and will be the first Working Families Party city council person in Philadelphia's history. As a majority Black and brown city, we have been ground zero for the decimation of public education in favor of privatization schemes. These intentional choices have caused a historic disinvestment in the district, hurting our children. This has caused mass public schools closures, underpaid paraprofessionals and classroom aides, and over-policing of our students, and years of labor unrest. Most damningly, we have also been dealing with the lead and asbestos crisis that grows weekly with new revelations of neglect without regard for the health of our students, our working educators, and our communities. But we are also home of a true movement for public education, a movement of parents, students, and educators who have fought in the trenches for the schools we deserve and have won. This includes returning Philadelphia to local control with new revenue from the city. In fact, just this week, our movement won nearly 50% reduction in tax abatement that has handed out millions to wealthy developers at the expense of our kids. Philadelphians are looking for answers to the systematic issues intentionally inflicted on our school district through years of disinvestment and structural racism. Our movement is full of people like me, ready to organize on a local level for the quality schools working families need. but we know we cannot do it alone. It's time for Pennsylvanians who care about public education to swing this country in the right direction, and that's to the left. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Where are my public school students? Where are my public school educators? Where are my public school advocates? My name is John Jackson, President and CEO of the Schott Foundation for Public Education and a member of the Board of Directors for Opportunity Action, a C4 that works to ensure that all students have a fair and substantive opportunity to learn. I want to welcome you and thank all of our candidates in advance for being here today. We are here today because we recognize that simply having an election doesn't make a democracy. We're here today because we recognize that simply having a democracy doesn't deliver an equitable and just society. We're here today in coalition with parents and students and educators and advocates because we recognize that more than making our democracy work, we want a democracy that works to create a just and fair society for all children, regardless of zip code or immigration status. We're here today because after decades of injustices and educational inequities, and particularly in 2020, we recognize that our democracy is on trial and justice is on the ballot. And because justice is on the ballot, we the people would like to know what they, the candidates, have to say about justice. We want to know what are their plans to evolve our democracy from a democracy to a justocracy, a place where democracy is not the end goal, but a tool that's used to create a just society for all individuals. It's time for an evolution. And because you are here and they will be here, I'm glad that they thought it not robbery of their time to come today and participate in this discussion. So on behalf of the Schott Foundation and Opportunity Action, thank you for being here and enjoy the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Good morning. My name is Keron Blair. I'm an immigrant from the island of Jamaica. My first year in this country was spent in a public school. That public school, with all of its opportunities and challenges, is responsible for much of my life today. That and the sacrifice of my mother. Shout out, mother. As the national co-director of the Alliance to Reclaim Our Schools, which I co-lead with the phenomenal Jay Travis, AROS is the country's largest alliance of organizations working to make sure that all communities have quality and equitable public schools. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this forum. Who is the Alliance? The Alliance to Reclaim Our Schools is the Alliance for Educational Justice. It is the American Federation of Teachers. It is the Journey for Justice Alliance. It is the Center for Popular Democracy. It is the Metro Center out of New York. It is the Schott Foundation. It is the Gamaliel Network. It is the Advancement Project. And it is the Service Employees International Union. Together, we represent 8 million people across the length and breadth of this great country. We joined the Network for Public Education, the NAACP, the BATS, the Dignity in Schools Campaign, Opportunity Action, Voto Latino, the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, and together we added even more millions of people to our dynamic coalition. Why am I saying this? Because together we represent a ton of people. And our agenda is a public schools agenda. It is a community schools agenda. It is an agenda of schools accepting and educating all children. It is a police-free schools agenda. It is a guns-free school agenda. It is schools where the curriculum is rigorous and prepares young people for bright futures. It is schools where there is time to learn and play and build friendships. It's schools where that are equipped to mitigate against the impact of poverty and provide nutritious food and wraparound services and counselors. It is schools where restorative justice and positive discipline practices are the norm. It is schools where educators can be creative and respond to the needs of their young scholars. It is schools where educators and school staff are paid decent wages. It is schools where all that are well-resourced and have the infrastructure to make learning possible. Schools where parents and community members and educators and staff have voice and democracy and a say in how decisions are made. Together, we are advancing a bold agenda that ensures equity, good schools in every community, and quality education for all of our children. These are not radical ideas. These are not ideas conjured in boardrooms. These are ideas that come out of the lived experience of everyday people, everyday students, everyday parents, everyday educators, everyday school staff, and we will do whatever and everything we can to make sure that all students and every community have exactly what they deserve. Thank you and welcome.
Awesome. Good morning, sisters and brothers. Good morning. My name is Max Arias. I'm the Executive Director of SEIU Local 99 in Los Angeles. And with me is my sister Mary Kay Henry, President of SEIU. Yes. Sable Russell, school staff worker and member leader from SEIU Local 73. And a strong leader from Local SEIU 73, Evelyn Davis-West. They both led shoulder to shoulder with the teachers in that strike that just happened in Chicago. So we're right here. SEIU members play a vital role in the lives of millions of students in our nation's public schools. We are special education assistants, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, buildings and facilities maintenance staff, and many other dedicated education workers who make sure that students learn in a clean, safe, and supportive environment every day. We believe that you can't have excellent schools without good jobs for school workers, all school workers. A great majority of us are people of color, women, and parents whose own children attended public schools where we work. That is why we are also fierce advocates for equity in education. We believe that every child should have access to a quality education, no matter where they live, where they come from, what language they speak, their ability, or the color of their skin. Children cannot learn where they are hungry or homeless or living in poverty, and that includes our children too. As union members, we believe in the power of joining together and unions for all, so parents everywhere can have good union jobs that pay a living wage and benefits and give them the ability to provide their children with the stability that they need to learn and thrive. On behalf of the 288,000 SEIU school workers across the country and the 2.1 million SEIU members, we are proud to join you in an efforts to ensure we have excellent public schools for all. Thank you. And now, let me introduce my sister, Evelyn Davis-West, who is an SEIU Local 73 member, a fierce leader who led on the recent CPS strike in Chicago. Evelyn?
Thank you. Good morning to all. Good morning to all. And I want to say thank you to my brother Max And thank you to my president, Mary Kay, and thank you to my fellow SEIU Local 73 member, Sable Russell, and also my president, Diane Palmer, who could not be here with us, but she's with us in spirit. So once again, my name is Evelyn Davis-West, and I am a special education classroom assistant who work with the Chicago public school system. Yes, I am the one who worked with the most vulnerable babies that's in the Chicago public school system. The babies that had the varieties and various of disabilities. And when we went on strike in October of 2019, it was very personal for me because I'm not just a member. I'm just not an employee. I am a mother of two well-rounded future scholars, my Paul C. West II and my Egypt and Nella West. So I was up there on that battlefield, and we was getting that historical deal in Chicago, Illinois. It was for my children as well, to further their education. And it was also for my fellow co-workers, my fellow sisters and brothers, bus aides, bus monitors, seekers, custodians, security guards, and parent worker others as well. You know, we was overworked and underpaid, undervalued. You know, we was pulled like rubber bands, and then the rubber band finally broke in October when we stood tall for all, and when we made sure that we all had the fairness and equality and the right to be seen and to be heard. And so therefore, I'm very proud and very thankful to come today and share this with you all. Thank you very much.